Hi guys! Today we're breaking down stroke play and match play so you'll know exactly how to score and bet your next round. Let's get started.
A 10 handicap does not mean you shoot 82. It does not mean 82 is your average. It does not promise 82 the next time you play. And it does not even mean the same thing on every set of tees. That single number is the last output of a system doing several different jobs at once. It remembers your better rounds, adjusts them for the course you played, reacts to unusual conditions, travels with you to a new course, and then changes one more time depending on the format you are playing. Most golfers see only the answer. The interesting part is the machine underneath it. The United States Golf Association describes a handicap index as a measure of demonstrated playing ability, what your game can produce when you are playing well, not your average score. The USGA says most golfers play to their handicap only about 20 to 25% of the time. That means a 10 handicap should normally expect to score higher than the number many players casually call par plus 10. The handicap is not lying. We're asking it the wrong question. Imagine two golfers both shoot 85 at Pebble Beach golf links. The first plays the gold tees, rated 73.4 with a slope rating of 137. The second plays the longer blue tees, rated 74.9 with a slope rating of 144. Same number on the scorecard. Different performance. The handicap system does not place those two 85s into the record as if they were identical. It converts each one into a score differential. The calculation begins with the adjusted gross score. That is not always the raw total written at the bottom of the card, because handicap posting applies a maximum hole score called net double bogey. From the adjusted score, the system subtracts the course rating and any playing conditions calculation. Then it multiplies the result by 113 divided by the slope rating. Course rating estimates the score a scratch player would be expected to make from those tees. Slope rating describes how much more difficult those tees become for a non-scratch player relative to a scratch player. The playing conditions calculation is a daily adjustment. If enough scores show that the course played unusually easy or unusually difficult, the system can apply a value from -1 to +3. On most days, that value is 0. From Pebble Beach's gold tees, the 85 becomes a differential of 9.6. From the blue tees, the same 85 becomes 7.9. The score did not change. The meaning of the score did. Now we have to stop thinking of the handicap record as an average. Once a golfer has 20 score differentials, the system selects the lowest 8 and averages those 8. The other 12 remain in the scoring record, but they do not enter that day's basic calculation. That is the design. The number is intentionally biased toward the golfer's better demonstrated performance. Put 20 fictional differentials on the wall. Some rounds are excellent, some are ordinary. A few are disasters. The system does not pretend the bad rounds never happened, but it also does not let every bad day redefine the player's demonstrated ability. Our 8 selected differentials are 8.8, 9.4, 10.1, 10.5, 11.2, 11.6, 12.0, and 12.3. Their average is 10.7375. Rounded to the nearest tenth, the handicap index is 10.7. Tomorrow, a new score enters. The oldest score leaves. If the new differential is low enough, it replaces one of the selected 8. If it is not, the index may not move at all. This is why a golfer can post a terrible score and watch the handicap stay unchanged. It is also why an old, excellent round rolling out of the most recent 20 can make the index rise even after a respectable day. The machine is not reacting to one score. It is continuously rebuilding the best 8 window. There are controls around that average. If a golfer posts a score differential 7 strokes or more better than the handicap index held when the round was played, the system treats it as an exceptional score. A reduction can be applied not only to that round, but to earlier differentials still inside the scoring record. The system also remembers the player's low handicap index from the previous 365 days. If the new best 8 calculation rises more than 3 strokes above that low point, a soft cap begins reducing further upward movement. After the soft cap, a hard cap prevents the index from rising more than 5 strokes above the low handicap index. Those safeguards do not guarantee perfect fairness. No single number can fully describe form, injury, weather, pressure, or how someone will play today. They do make it harder for one unusual stretch to move the number without limit. The handicap is a model of demonstrated ability with memory and guardrails. It is not a forecast. The 10.7 handicap index is portable. It belongs to the player. But the player does not simply walk onto every course and receive 11 strokes. The index must first become a course handicap for the specific course and tees. At Pebble Beach golf links, the men's gold tees have a slope rating of 137, a course rating of 73.4, and a par of 72. A 10.7 index converts to a course handicap of 14. This is the number used to apply net double bogey when posting the round. It represents the strokes required to play to par from that set of tees. Then a game or competition may apply a handicap allowance. If the event uses a 95% allowance, the course handicap of 14 is multiplied by 0.95. The result rounds to a playing handicap of 13. That is the number used to compete. Index, course handicap, playing handicap, 3 related numbers doing 3 different jobs. When golfers collapse them into one word, handicap, the confusion is almost guaranteed. A playing handicap tells us how many strokes a golfer receives. The stroke index tells us where those strokes fall. Every hole is assigned a stroke index from 1 through 18. A playing handicap of 7 receives 1 stroke on holes ranked 1 through 7. A playing handicap of 14 receives 1 stroke on holes ranked 1 through 14. A playing handicap of 22 receives 1 stroke on every hole, then a second stroke on holes ranked 1 through 4. That ranking is not simply a list of the 4 hardest holes followed by the next hardest 14. The USGA's recommended allocation method spreads the lower stroke index values through the round, so strokes remain useful in both stroke play and match play. The course's handicap committee makes the final allocation using course-specific information. This distinction matters on a side game scorecard. A gross 5 on a hole, where the player receives 1 stroke, becomes a net 4. A gross 5 on a hole, where the player receives no stroke, stays 5. The handicap number does not reduce the final score only at the clubhouse. It changes specific holes while the match is being played. Now run the full machine. Our golfer posts an adjusted score of 85 from Pebble Beach Golf Link's blue tees. Course rating, 74.9. Slope rating, 144. Playing conditions. Calculation, 0. The score differential is 7.9. It enters the 20-score record and becomes one of the lowest 8. The selected 8 averaged to 10.7, producing the new Handicap Index. On Saturday, the golfer plays Pebble Beach's gold tees, rated 73.4 with a slope of 137 and a par of 72. The index converts to a course handicap of 14. The competition applies a 95% allowance, producing a playing handicap of 13. The golfer receives 1 stroke on holes with stroke index values 1 through 13. On the 5th hole, the gross score is 5. The hole's stroke index is 1, so the net score is 4. On the 17th, the gross score is 5. The stroke index is 18, so the net score remains 5. Same player, same round, different holes. The machine has moved from historical performance to course difficulty, from course difficulty to competition terms, and from competition terms to the score that counts on each hole. Here is how to set up GHIN and use it correctly. First, establish a handicap index through an authorized golf club. Many golfers do that through their state or regional golf association, a local course, or an online club approved by that association. Once you receive your GHIN number, make sure a unique email address is attached to your record. In the GHIN app or at ghin.com, choose Create Profile. Verify 2 of these 3 items: your last name, GHIN number, and email address. Open the verification email, create your password, and accept the terms. Now you can post scores, check your handicap index, and use the calculator. When you post, choose the exact course and tees you played, then enter the score hole by hole when possible. Before a round, use your handicap index with the course rating, slope, and par to calculate your course handicap. The app then shows where your strokes fall. For tournaments, check the event terms. Many net events require an active, verifiable handicap index, but the committee decides the eligibility limit, handicap allowance, and whether it will review your scoring record. Set up GHIN before tournament day so your index is current and easy to verify. A handicap index is not a reward for consistency. It is not an average. It is not a promise. It is a portable estimate of demonstrated ability built from the better part of a moving scoring record. That is why a 10 handicap does not mean 82. It means the player has recently produced a collection of score differentials that support an index near 10, and that index still has to meet the course, the tees, and the format before it becomes the number used in the game. Once you see the layers, the system becomes easier to trust because you can identify which number is changing and why. The next time someone says, "I am a 10, so I should shoot 82, the answer is simple: not exactly. First tell me the course, then tell me the tees, then tell me the game. Subscribe to You Can Pick It Up, Golf for Golf Stories, Decoded, and next we will put this handicap engine inside Skins, Nassau, and Vegas to show exactly how golf's side games are settled without the argument at the 18th green.